Welcome to Letting Go with Aloha. Anyone who has difficulty with putting their kids to bed, no matter what age they are, you need to listen to my special guest today and share this episode. I have Joanna Clark with us today. She's a trained and certified gentle sleep coach with 13 years of experience. She's helped over 1,000 clients, which translates to 4,000 well-rested family members. She was voted top sleep consultant in USA by Tuck each year, and an international Amazon bestseller series author, The One Thing Every Mom Needs to Know. Let's welcome Joanna and let's dive into why is it so difficult to get our kiddos to sleep, no matter what age they are. Thank you, Joanna.
Hi, Karen. Great to see you. Thank you for inviting me to be here to talk all things sleep.
Sleep. It is difficult for us. And now I'm just realizing, we just talked a little bit, that it is a learned skill that many of us have never mastered. And then as parents, we just think we'll create the right lighting, we'll do this and this, and still it does not work. And it's probably one of the most challenging parts of parenting, especially with when you're first time parent, you know, that the little ones. Please shed light on the mystery of these sleepless nights that we're having.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So, as we all know, sleep is paramount for healthy growth and development. It is literally the building block of all learning and all development. And so, if you have a child, whether the child is 6 months old, 18 months old, 4 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, if you have a child that is really challenged with sleep. So let me define that to you so that we're all like level set, right? So families that seek sleep support are typically families that are having problems such as bedtime battles, meaning bedtime takes way too long. It's very difficult. It requires a lot of parental support, meaning you might have to sing to your child, sit next to your child, hold your child, rock your child, nurse your child, feed your child, right? And again, remember, we're talking about from babies 6 months and children up to 10 years of age, right? So I want you to be thinking about at the onset of sleep at bedtime, does your child need a ton of parental support? Okay, so that's kind of like stage 1 of sleep challenges. Stage 2 is in the middle of the night when they wake up, do they then need more parental support? And they might want the same things they had at bedtime, or they might want something entirely different in the middle of the night. Okay, another sleep challenge is your child is waking up every day at 4:30, 5:15, 5:30 in the morning, and they're ready to start their day after like maybe 7 or 8 hours of sleep. And you're like, how is this possible that this child has only gotten 7 or 8 hours of sleep and they're up and starting their day? That's also considered a sleep challenge that can be remedied with sleep support. And then, of course, those of you that have children that are still napping, you could have a problem where they sleep okay at night or like decent enough, but then they take miserable naps or no naps and they're just cranky all day long. That is another area. And so families have challenges with sleep in all these different realms, and it really becomes problematic for the family system, meaning if there's just one human being in the household that is not sleeping well, it literally affects all the siblings, it affects each parent, and it affects how the entire family system is functioning on a day-to-day basis. And the good news is that all sleep problems are solvable, all of them. So if I mentioned anything in here where you're like, oh no, that's me. Oh my gosh, I have an 8-year-old that needs me to lay down with her every night and it takes 2 hours. And then she comes in and crawls into my bed like a little ninja at 2 in the morning. And I wake up in the morning and there she is and I didn't even hear her. And you're thinking, when am I ever going to have privacy? When am I going to ever have my master bedroom back? Please know all sleep challenges are solvable. It is never too late for your child to learn sleep skills. And we'll go into what sleep skills are in a moment.
So let's share your own journey because
Okay.
this must have been, was this what developed into your passion to
Yes.
help others with sleep challenges?
Yes. So as many of us in the helping professions, we are here because we have been in the trenches ourselves and we don't want anyone else to have to go there. So long ago, when I had a 9-month-old, she was not sleeping, like so miserable naps, bedtime battles, multiple arousals in the night. She wouldn't let my husband help at all. So like it was just me 24/7 for all everything. And I was a nursing mom, so and she was just attached to me like kind of like a um she just it was like this. And so I really needed help and I was able to have a sleep consultant help me. I saw a complete family sleep transformation where we went from a sleepless household to a household with a beautiful, dependable routine where my husband was integrated into the routine. My husband was able to develop an independent relationship with our daughter, which he had not had before. Because she was just so dividing, making it be that had to be all me all the time as the caregiver. And so once I saw that this was possible, that even the most complex situations that really felt helpless at the time can be solved, I was like, I want to be that person for other people. So I've been doing this for 13 years, working one on one with gentle sleep coaching. So I should say that not all sleep training is the same. So I'm a trained and certified gentle sleep coach, which means I do not believe in cry it out. Everything I do is based on sleep science, behavioral science, and attachment theory. And we create a sleep plan that we work day by day, step by step, fully customized to your child, your family values, the logistics of your household, and the temperament of your child. And we craft this in a very strategic way, day by day, using, again, sleep science, behavioral science, and attachment theory. So it's all grounded in science to ultimately reach all the goals that we establish as as us and the parents and the child, we establish it. And what's really amazing is when I work with older children, okay, so school age children, absolutely, I have a ton of school age children. So whether you're in kindergarten or you're in fourth grade, um, with the older children, it's really amazing because I get to develop a relationship with these children and really help them learn their sleep skills. And it builds their confidence like you cannot believe. It is so amazing. And when their confidence, when they're well rested, they go to school and they have newfound confidence because they did this hard thing and now they know they can do it. And they show up in the classroom well rested. They literally bloom and blossom. I mean, it's just amazing. And they get to do things they could never do before, like go to a spend the night, an overnight with their
Mhm.
friends, an overnight at grandma's house. A couple of the children I'm working with right now are actually getting to go to summer camp for the first time because they actually have the confidence to go do a summer camp experience with all their peers. So it's really life changing, not only for the parents, but also for the child.
I'm actually, yeah, working with a couple of kids, and the 7-year-old is just filled with just fears.
Peers.
And he gets to the point where, okay, I am safe. He creates a safe, and then I think all of a sudden it's the scary movie they saw 3 years ago.
Yep.
It's just fearing that someone might break in, even though there's a house alarm,
Right.
right?
Right.
Or the 9-year-olds, the brother and him just magically appear in the bedroom, like you said, they're ninjas.
Yep.
And I think some parents just think one day it'll happen, but they don't realize. I love how you create like a plan
Right.
and the confidence, because when they fail at sleeping, every week we've been working on it, and then they feel like they failed.
Right.
So how do you help the parent and the child
Okay.
with that feeling of not only just the fear, but the failure that it's just too scary? It's almost like public speaking or, something that you just fear, but
Okay.
once you do it, right?
Such a great question because this is where I've referenced in our conversation a couple times sleep skills, the word sleep skills.
Mhm.
Let me define that because that's going to help you understand where the skill set and the fear are bumping up against each other. Okay. So let me explain some sleep science. So although sleep is a biological need that all human beings require, right? We all need sleep. It is also simultaneously a learned skill. And there are 3 skills that need to be learned in order to have restorative, consolidated sleep, right? The type of sleep where you can be happy going to in your bed, fall asleep easily, stay asleep all night, and wake up happy and well rested, right? That's what every parent like dreams of, right? So although it's a biological need, it is also simultaneously a learned skill. And there are 3 skills that need to be learned: self-regulation, followed by self-settling, followed by self-soothing. So 3 skills need to be learned, and then they have to be learned to be used in sequence. And the easiest time for a child to do that is at the onset of sleep, at bedtime, at the right sleep window, using the right methodology, sleep training methodology, to meet the temperament of your child, and that you create the optimal conditions for learning over the course of anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks, so that the child has a learning ground, an optimal learning environment for those skill sets to come online. Because they come online first at the onset of sleep, and then they come online at the arousal cycles all night long. And so when a child says, "I'm afraid," it is because they do not know how to fall asleep without the person, the parent, doing the thing, whatever that is. Laying down with them, singing to them, reading a story to them, holding their hand, snuggling with them. So when they said, "I'm afraid," they're not really afraid of sleeping. They're afraid to do it alone because they don't know how to regulate, settle, and soothe themselves to sleep, because they've never gone through that 6-part learning process I just mentioned and got inside a sleep training situation where for 2 to 4 weeks, you're creating that optimal learning environment for those skill sets to come online. So it's not a matter of fear. It's a matter of lack of skill set. And it's a lack of the parents recognizing that they haven't ever created the optimal learning environment for the sleep skills to come online. So I want all of the parents to be thinking about, okay, let me think about this. If sleep is a learned skill, let me draw some analogies. Okay, if your child ever did swim lessons, did you expect them to learn to swim the first 2 or 3 days that you had them in the pool? No, you would never expect that. Are you creating an optimal environment for the learning to take place? Yes, you're going to make sure that they had a snack, that they digested, that they have a really good instructor, that the pool is heated, that, you're going to go on, and they're first going to learn how to go under, and then they're going to learn their strokes, and then they're going to learn how to jump in the middle of the pool, and then they're going to learn to jump at the deep end. There's all this sequential scaffolding of learning till you get to the point that your child has mastery in the pool, right? You have to be thinking of sleep as a learned skill through that same lens. So like riding a bike, like until you create the optimal environment for learning where you're going out every day and you're teaching them like, okay, first we're going to learn how to pedal. Okay, now we're going to learn how to balance. Now we're going to, and you just build it until the point is they get to the point where they're like, you're like, let go. And all of a sudden they're paddling and, cycling. So
I love that. You know what? Let me stop you there, and we're going to just have a 30-second break, and we'll come back and we'll learn more about this. I just never realized that. It is a learned skill. So stay tuned for more.
Yes.
Aloha. I'm Karen Gibson, a wife and mother of 2 adult daughters who wrote Mama's Gotta Let Go, How to Let Go Without Losing Your Sanity. I also founded Brain Builders, a private tutoring business in 1999, whose mission is to prepare students to succeed in and out of the classroom. As a certified neuro-linguistic practitioner, I help my clients rewire their brains to improve communication and problem-solving skills while overcoming limiting beliefs. I recently co-authored The Power to Rise Above along with 29 women across the globe. I founded Letting Go with Aloha in 2019, mentoring stressed parents to navigate their journey with peace instead of pain. In 2021, I wrote 100 parenting tips inspired by the pandemic, which started out as 100 parenting video tips on Instagram and TikTok. My mission is to be an important resource for parents so they can raise responsible, resilient, and resourceful children as they prepare for adulthood.
So Joanna, boy, I wish I had known you when my 28-year-old was 3. What do you think is the one mistake parents make when they start this the sleep routine or just battle? It truly is a battle, right? What do they do?
Well, I feel that the first thing is recognizing with your partner, right? So this is a family system issue. When you have one little human being that is not sleeping, it ultimately affects every single family member in the household, and then it affects how the family system is functioning day to day. So if there's a sleep struggle going on, the first thing that really needs to happen is the partners, the parents need to come together and fully recognize and say, we have a problem that is now affecting the entire way our system is running, our household is running. Because until there's that massive revelation, everyone's just going to be in reaction to the problem, right? Like, oh, good night, bad night, good night, bad night, 3 good nights, 20 bad nights. Oh, we'll get it together after Christmas. We'll get it together. Like, there has to be a moment where you sit down and you say, you know what, this is really something that is not improving, and we need to focus on it and understand how we can help our child. Okay. Then the second thing that needs to happen is once both parents are in agreement that there is a problem that they are ready to actually make a change about, then my recommendation is to reach out for expert support. Because especially if you have an older child that this has been going on for years and years and years, there's a lot contributing to that problem within the family system. And it's only with the expert support of a sleep coach can they go in and start to fully assess the true root causes of the sleep disturbances, and to build a plan that is going to make it very easy for you to implement. So for a lot of families, going at it alone and just getting a sleep training book or calling their sister and getting recommendations from their sister on how to solve it, it's not going to be enough, because I like to look at like sleep as a gigantic puzzle, and all the pieces of the puzzle inform all the other pieces of the puzzle. Like, you don't get your happy ending without all those individual pieces contributing to everything else. And so that is where a sleep expert can come in and really help you manage that. So this is like just an example of what I mean by a sleep puzzle. Literally, this is like, sorry, it's kind of funny when you're on this. These are all the things that have to happen at bedtime, naps, early rising. All of these things are things that can be going wrong inside a child's sleep life. And until you have somebody that can sit you down and take you through this, only then will you be able to come up with a plan to remedy it. And this is not meant, something like this is actually not meant to overwhelm anybody. It's actually helps you look at each individual section of your child's sleep life. Like, bedtime has its own problems. Arousals before midnight have its own separate set of problems. Arousals between midnight and 4 a.m. have a different problem area. Arousals between 4 and 6 a.m. have a different problem. Naps, different problem. And so you have to look at each component of the night to understand what the root causes are of the problem, and then come up with a plan to address each of those individual zones of their child's sleep life. And so for families where this has been going on and on for a long time, it's not something they can do alone to the point where they get their child to have the mastery of the sleep skills. Because what I always say is, listen, because sleep is so foundational for our health and well-being, I want when families work with me, the child learns lifelong sleep skills, lifelong. And so again, if you analogize this to learn skill, you want your child to learn how to swim, you want them to learn how to ride a bike, you want to have them learn how to read, you want them to learn their math facts. The only way that happens is creating an optimal learning environment, helping them consistently learn the elements of each of those skills day after day after day after day until mastery. And once they have the mastery, then now we have locked in the sleep skills, and now we have healthy sleep habits for the rest of our life, as long as they can maintain their sleep schedule, right? So that is the way to look at it. So the mistake is not getting on stage with your partner,
Mm-hmm.
have a problem, and then not recognizing that the problem is only solvable until you create the optimal learning environment. And then the question becomes, do you want to do the optimal learning environment by just, getting a book, which is fine. You can totally gain a lot. So the number one book I would recommend to people is this one, The Sleep Ladies Good Night, Sleep Tight by Kim West. You do not have to read the whole book. So if you have a child between 6 months and 6 years old, and you're wondering, oh my gosh, I'm having sleep challenges, whether it's nights, naps, bedtime battles, the best part is divided into age and stage. So you can just look up the child age and read about just that. Or you have a child that has early rising at 5 a.m., just read the chapter on early rising. So you don't have to get the whole book, but this will become like your hand. You can see how worn this is because you will be looking at the index and going to where you need to be. But just realizing that all sleep problems can be solved. It's just some people's sleep problems are more complex because the longer they've gone on, the more the family system is contributing to the problem. We have to peel all back and go into each of these areas and clean it up so that it's really, really streamlined and easy for the whole family.
Wow, it's so interesting. Well, what about, I know this is not your specialty, but I bet you have a better idea on why adults. I remember one of my students' dads he just never slept. He would rest, but that insomnia was so, just so intense. So I'm thinking he probably never learned the skills. But, if you're maybe in the military, you went to war, you have all these things happening while you're growing up, doesn't that affect how you get yourself to sleep and then how to stay asleep?
Right. So remember I mentioned at the beginning that everything I do is based on sleep science, behavioral science, and attachment theory, right? So you have to look at obviously sleep science, like circadian rhythms, and you have to look at behavioral science, and you have to look at attachment theory. So for somebody who's an adult and they're having sleep challenges, we have to still go inside those 3 buckets. And so for somebody that's been battling insomnia, a lot of times there's medical conditions that are contributing to it. A lot of times it's things like trauma and PTSD. That's the behavioral piece. Sometimes it's attachment theory because it's true. They've had some trauma in their background. So, adult sleep challenges can also be solvable. But they tend to be far more complex because they've had an entire life that might be adding into their challenges, and a lot more medical conditions are prevalent for sleep disorder. They're called sleep disorders, sleep apnea and things like that are typically undiagnosed, where it's breaking someone's sleep cycle. Now, of course, when I'm working with children, I absolutely look for medical conditions that can be inhibiting their child's sleep cycles. And we do find them. I mean, vitamin D levels, low vitamin D levels, low ferritin levels, enlarged adenoids can cause a breakage of sleep cycles. Reflux or silent reflux can cause breakage of sleep cycles. So this is what I mean about getting into the root causes of why your child might be waking so much, or why it might be really hard for your child to actually fall into a sleep cycle at the beginning of the bedtime. Is there can be, and I have found over the years, many true medical conditions that were inhibiting the child. And then we were able to go and actually get the medical attention for that. For example, the vitamin D or the ferritin levels, which is iron storage. And then as their levels raised, then their nervous system was calmer. So then it was easier for them to feel the effects of drowsiness. So then it became easier for them to learn their sleep skills, because their body chemistry, meaning the drowsiness, the melatonin, was actually folding into the sleep skill, so they could fall into the sleep cycle and stay inside the sleep cycle. So there's just a lot to do with like circadian rhythms and behavioral science and attachment theory. That's why, again, going out to somebody who's been trained and certified. Again, I'm a gentle sleep coach, so I love the fact that everything I do, we are minimizing tears, we are minimizing frustration. A parent is in the room, you can pick up, you can shush, you can hold, because sleep training often gets a lot of like negative association. Like if I say I'm a sleep trainer, if I walk to a party and someone says, "Oh, hi, Joanna, what do you do?" And I said, I'm a baby sleep coach, or I'm a sleep trainer, they'd be like, because over the years, there hasn't been a lot known about behavioral science, attachment theory, and sleep science on how to support a child to learn the sleep skills. 13 years later, we have all that science now that we didn't have before. And we can now create this very sequential learning where we minimize tears and frustration, and a parent can fully be present. So there's no need to cry it out anymore. That's like old school, like super old school. So if you ever talk to a professional and they're doing ferberizing, or they're doing wise breath or cry it out, it's kind of, that's like the old technology, if you will. That's like picking up a CD player to listen to music versus,
I love that analogy.
Versus like streaming, you're having your customized playlist on Spotify. So, so that's the way to think of it, is you really want to find somebody it's really up to date on the sleep science, to use all the best modalities right now.
I love that. We need to have a part 2, because there's so much, I think, that parents don't realize that you need to, that sleep puzzle alone is a guideline.
Yeah. But what I want to leave with you, Karen, is because sleep is a learned skill.
Yes.
Everybody can learn it.
That is true.
There's never, so some people just say, "Oh, I just have a bad sleeper. I'm just really unlucky parent. I have a bad sleeper." I'm like, that is a myth. That is not true. Every human being can learn how to sleep beautifully and blissfully. We just have to create that optimal learning environment over the course of several weeks. Doesn't take long. Some kids learn within 2 weeks, and they're sleeping through the night and taking gorgeous naps. And you're like, that's it? That's all it took? 2 weeks and I have like a perfect sleeper? I'm like, that's it. We just finally created the optimal learning container. So it's never too late to learn sleep skills, and every child can learn their sleep skills. So all sleep struggles are solvable. You just need the right guide.
The dream come true for many parents. How do we find you?
Okay, so I am Joanna Clark at Blissful Baby Sleep Coaching, kind of a long, and you can also find me on all social media at Blissful Baby Sleep. And if you want to speak with me, you can go to my website, to my contact me page, and fill out the form. And within 24 hours, I will send you an email to schedule a sleep strategy session with me, which is a 1-hour Zoom session, where I will go into figuring out those root causes for you, so that you now can look at the options that you have on how to resolve it. Right. That is $99 for the 1-hour Zoom. I do require both parents to be on the call, because remember, this is a family system issue. This is not mom trying to figure this out by herself. So dad and our other co-parent or grandparent, whoever is helping take care of this child, I want them on the call, because I want the entire family to benefit from the knowledge, because I'm here to improve the family system as long as improve the sleep challenges. And what I always like to tell my families is I want you to join what I call my well-rested family revolution. Like that's what I'm all about. Like I want a well-rested family revolution where all families are well-rested.
I love it. That is an amazing goal because I think all of us, our moods are affected, productivity, just the way that our perception, right, of what's going on. And it really boils down to sleep. I mean, it's amazing how I think as an adult, just a 10-minute nap or just a break, and you feel like a new person. So, anyone watching this, please share this interview and just know that I love what you said that every sleeping like problem or challenge, they are all solvable,
All.
you know?
And it's not too late. So if you've got, the 10-year-old who's still ninjing into your bed, or the 10-year-old that can't spend the night at her friend's house or grandma's house, it can all be solved. It's not too late for school-age children.
Never too late.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much. This was so informative. I remember when my 3-year-old, well, she was 3, and then Parent Line just said to just pick her up and no interaction right back then because she's 28. And within 3 days, she got it. She was happy, but it was just the 2 in the morning, 5 in the morning, like that every 2 hours. So it exhausts you. And I knew there was a better way, but I think parents just reach out to like you're desperate. And then others have the child remain. Joanna, I knew someone, an assistant, when I taught in an elementary school, she knew someone whose 18-year-old still slept with the parents.
Right.
And he was like very, very tall, very, and it's just,
yeah.
But I think that's what happens if you don't
That's what
have
happens.
the courage and just know that this is like, it's like the swimming,
It's like swimming.
People hire me for tutoring so they know their phonics and I notice, and this, if you have reading challenges in middle school, it's because you never mastered phonics or you're missing like that link. So thank you so much. I would really love to have you back on and just dive deeper into why parents must make this a priority because it affects their own sleep.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would love to come back, Karen. Thank you for all the work you do out in the world, educating parents and helping them learn their important skill set, the phonics, the reading, the writing, the math facts. Like it's all a pyramid. It's all a pyramid, right? So if you don't get this bottom pyramid, you can't build the pyramid. So sleep is one of those bottom pieces. If they sleep well, then it's easier for them to learn how to read or do their math facts or learn a sport or, you can't build the pyramid without the foundation. So I think we're both foundation builders, which I think is so important, and it all happens in those first, those first 7 years are really so critical, and laying down a really strong foundation. And it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
As parents, you guys, we can't be experts in everything. And there are so many good helpers out there. There's people like me. There's people like Karen. I mean, in my journey as a mother, just like Karen, the best thing you can do is start learning to ask for help because there's so many amazing practitioners to help you in all these little zones. And all you need sometimes is just your child just might need a little nudge and then off they go. It doesn't have to be a big, long, arduous process. So ask for help. I would say that's my other hot tip. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
What a great way to close. Don't hesitate to ask for help. And just like my new thing is like the mental fitness, because none of the academics can set in place if they're mentally in chaos, right? So I can just like sleep. I'm sure if you have all this stuff just brewing in you, you really need to like even know what the pieces of the puzzles are, because you might be just reaching out and not even looking at the fact that
like when you build a puzzle, if you've got this piece in your hand and you're trying to work on this side of the puzzle,
yes,
you keep wondering, well, this is the piece, like why it's supposed to go over here, and you're like, no, it's way over here. And that's what I see families do all the time. They're like, oh, but maybe if I just had better lighting, or I just had the right pajama, or I just, fed them a banana at bedtime instead. Like they're literally like they're grabbing the wrong pieces of the puzzle entirely. They're irrelevant to why this is happening over here. So yeah, puzzle pieces are important, everybody, and asking for help is important, and the experts are here to help you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Joanna. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay tuned for part 2. We'll schedule it soon. Bye.
Bye.